Okay, so we're going to continue our programming of the soft jaws. So with setup one, we have machine surface one, which is now going to be placed along the backside. And we're going to use 0.875 parallels, so a little bit taller parallels, so we grip a good uh, amount of the part. And we're going to put surface one against the fixed jaw, and then we're going to put some soft material between here, some aluminum wire, so that if it is, which it will be, out of parallel because of the saw cut, we're coming off of the good surface and we're clamping on this surface. So what we're attempting to do in this setup is we're going to machine surface 2. We're going to do a face mill on surface 2 using tool 5. And then we're going to face surface 3 in the same setup with the 3/8 bowl nose end mill. So we're going to accomplish those two operations in this setup. So before I complete the programming for setup 2, I'm going to create another program like we did in previously, and that program is going to be for setup 2. So I am going to, I've saved Lab 1 Setup 1 program, so I am going to press F1 for menu, and I'm going to go make sure I'm on File and New, and I'm going to create a new program, and this is going to be 48002. You would use the next program in your next program number in your sequence, and then the comment is going to be lab 1 setup 2, and then I can hit enter, and that creates my new program. Come over to the end, and I'm going to create an end of the block and give myself some space. And then in this line, I'm going to put face space side 2. We're going to do that first. Include your end of block. And again, I want to give myself a little bit of room. Okay, so save that by hitting memory. And yes, I want to do enter. And I'm going to go back to memory. Oops, I'm going to go back to edit. And we're going to do another face milling, because we're going to face 2. So we got another face milling. We hit enter. Per the drawing, we're going to use the G57. Now, G57 is located in the same spot. It is on the left face of the fixed jaw, but the height is now adjusted to when the part is set up in this way on the 0.875 parallels. Okay, so my PRZ in the Z direction is lower. Now, the other thing you have to make note of in this setup, in order to face side 3, we are going to offset this face 5 from the jaws 1/4 of an inch, so that we have 1/4 of an inch sticking out from the vise, so we can safely bring the tool in to just take a very light skim cut of that. Okay. So we are going to enter 57 for this. Oops. Buttons can be a little touchy, so make sure you look at the green bar so you know. This is going to be T5. Spindle speed, same as last time, 1146. Feed rate, 38.5. Diameter's 2. Yes. X in this case, we're going to do the same thing we did last time. So this is going to be minus 1.5 for the center line. And then Y, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make that 0.1. C is 0 again. We are going to come from that side. My length is going to be, now I'm going to have to go a little bit further. So I went 5 1/4 last time. I'm going to let it go 6 so I clear the part. It's not really going to cost us that much. We'll keep that. And we are going to do 2 steps. And our step over is going to be so 0.9 and 0.9 is 1.8. So if I stick with the 45%, now they're going a little bit. The default value is a little bit further. We don't have as much step over, and that's probably okay. We don't need to go that far. We could change E to 0.9, which is 45%, and that will be okay. So we'll do that, 0.9. Because in 2 passes, we've gone 1.8. We are going to keep the feed plane the same, and we're going to cut at Z0 again. And we're only going 1 depth, and we're not leaving a finish. So now I can generate the code with an F4, and I want to insert it to the clipboard. So I press 1. So now it's in the clipboard, and I want to position it where I want it, which is down here. And then to paste it from the clipboard, I just hit F4. So now I have my face mill program in. So I am going to hit memory and then come back to edit so that it's saved. And now I'm going to scroll down. And we're going to move over to the end. We're going to add a couple end of blocks. And we are ready to go. Okay, so for machining face 3 that's sticking out here, you got to recognize a couple things. Number one, we're shifting the part over 1/4 of an inch, and we're going to do that fairly accurately with a stop when we put on the vise. So we've got 1/4 inch to this face, and then the length of the part is 4, and we're going to want to take off like 10 thousandths. So we're going to go to 3.990 is the surface that we want to cut. Okay, so it's going to be 3.990 plus this 1/4. That's how far over we're going to go. All right, so let's go back to the Haas control, and let's check out what VPS options I have available. And go over to VPS, and then I want the VPS directory. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to do a straight milling as is shown here. So that's a straight mill. So we're going to machine that face with straight milling. Okay, so that's what I want, and I hit enter. And we are using the same work offset that we used before, so it's G57. So I have to put in G57. And then we're going to go down. And what tool we are using is the 3/8 tool, which is tool 10. Spindle speed is going to be 558.57, almost 6,000, which is the max. 6,000 is the max RPMs on the mini mills. Oops, I missed my feed rate. My feed rate is going to be 31.5. We'll leave R a 0.1. My Z depth of my cut. Now this is a bull nose end mill, which has like a 30 thousandths, maybe as much as a 60 thousandths. I believe it's a 30 thousandths, but we're going to go 60 thousandths past on the end. So our depth is from the top of the stock is 0.5 plus 60 thousandths. So just to clear it, we're going to go minus 0.6. Yes, we're going to have coolant. So for the X value, so our PRZ is back here, and we're going to perform that cutout here. So let's take a look at the drawing, and I've actually added another view for you to see it a little bit better. So in this view, we can see the PRZ here, so we're looking down on top of the vise. So we've offset our workpiece 1/4 of an inch. So if this bar stock is 4 wide, which we know it to be, this is going to be from the PRZ over 4 1/4. But to make this cut, we actually want that to be, we want to take the part down to 3,990, right? We want to take 10 thousandths off. And we're going to be using the 3/8 tool, so we have to go over to the center line of the 3/8 tool. Therefore, if we bring our calculator over here to do some quick math, so we want to be 1/4 plus 3.990, right, which is just going to be 4.24. But then we have to add the radius of the tool. So the tool is 0.375, so the radius is 0.1875. So we actually want to move over 4.428. Therefore, I enter 4.428 as my X. My Y is we want to be above the part, so 0.375. We'll start at plus 0.5, just to be a little bit conservative. So we're going to go a 1/2 inch above the PRZ. And then as far as where we're going, since it's a straight cut, straight down in the Y, we're going to make this 4.428. And then my width of my part is 1.3, so I'm going to go minus. We want to be at least 0.1875 beyond that, right? So if it's 1.3, it'll actually be a little bit less than that, plus 0.1875 will put us just a little bit under 1.5, but let's clear it. And of course, the radius clears it. Yeah, let's just go with minus 1.5. That should be fine. Okay, so let's generate code by pressing F4. And yes, we want to insert it in the clipboard. And I need to go down and find where I'm going to put it. So I left some space after facing side 2. So now what we want to do is we want to put a comment in and say square side 3. And let's put in another end of block. Just a little room. And of course it's a straight cut. So let's paste it, the code we've generated. And as we scroll down, we see that we have the code generated. So let's save it, memory, edit. And we're going to finish this up because the next program is for setup 3, where we're going to rotate the part about the face 1. At the center of face 1 is going to be our rotation axis. And we're going to rotate the part, and we are going to face side 4 and square side 5. So we are going to finish this up. So let's change this to M01 while we're here. Since we're sitting on it, let's change this to an M30, which will end the program. And then because we want to reposition the part, we have to add to the end. Whoops, we have to add to the end of this. So we're going to enter G53. And we're going to do the same thing we did last time. We're going to add X15 and Y0. And we want to put an end of block, and we're going to hit enter. And that will finish the straight milling portion. Save it, memory, come back to edit, and we have our second program completed. So, as mentioned, X should be minus 15. Now I'm ready to graph the program. So I hit memory, graphics, cycle start, and there is my program. Okay, so I want to zoom in, F2, zoom, page down. Enter, cycle start, cycle start. So I have my 2 passes followed by my squaring pass at the end.